Namaskar. Now we have the much awaited costing strategy video. Some of you are writing only group 2 and most of you might be writing group 2 after group 1. Either way, this is an important video. Before getting into the schedule, let me explain some elements of the strategy. If you look at cost and management accounting as a whole, there are 4 components. At least now you should have reasonable understanding of these 4 components. The first component is the overview of cost and management accounting. So you have the introduction chapter. It also has the element of cost and preparation of cost sheet. Together you'll get it for 10 marks. Okay. So the weightage is not very linear. So these 2 topics will give you at least 10 marks. Once this is done, the simpler block of topics to be solved is methods of costing. You have unit costing, job costing, batch costing, process costing, and costing of service sector. These together will get you 20 marks. So for you to get a base, these 2 topics, 20 marks and 10 marks, 30 marks, which can be covered in 6 to 8 hours. Okay, this can be done easily. So here your accuracy can also be more. Okay, so these are the 2 blocks which are easy to handle. Next, before we come into the macro is the asset element of cost and cost accounting system, which includes all the material, employee, overheads, ABC, and integration between costing and financial accounting system. So all of this together will have 35 to 40 marks. Before we get here, if you have decent grip on these 3 topics in the module 2, standard costing, marginal costing, and budgetary control, this will form part of your cost control analysis. So each aspect requires a different mindset. For you, it could be easy, followed by this. If that is the case, it's great. You're covering 70 marks. Otherwise, you can focus on these 2 blocks as compared to this 1 block. So either way, you should be very comfortable with at least 70 marks. Okay, the risk can be taken in the remaining 35 marks, which could be a combination of this, or this alone, but you should be able to clearly attempt and handle at least 70 marks. Okay, so one day before the exam, your efficiency cannot be improved significantly, so leverage on your strength. So for you to understand this better, please quickly have a I would say scanning view of the May 21st question paper. You'll understand what we're talking about, and based on this, we have arrived at this strategy. So here Hari has analyzed May 24 paper along with the last 2 MTPs. So which gave us an overview which is pretty much matching with the institute weightage given. So institute has given its weightage. So here everything is given in a very detailed manner. So this and this are matching. So that's why we are very confident about the strategy which we're talking about. So today, on the day of the exam, three topics which I showed you here. I told you these 3 topics will give you 25 marks. So all of these 3 together will give you 25 marks. On the first day, which is today, please complete index mapping. Now when I talk about index mapping, this is the index mapping, the ICA index, which you should have mapped. All our super students do it before. If not, at least do it chapter wise right now. It takes only 10-15 minutes before we get into the actual chapter. Right now Sarvan is doing it. His attempt is in January. He's just finishing it right now because he is going through some chapters. So this is exactly how we finish. Okay. So index mapping, once it is done, I'll go through the first chapter, introduction to cost management. There you can expect some 4 to 6 marks from the chapter. Once it is done, marginal costing, budgetary control, standard costing. All 3 has to be done reasonably well. Even if you have some issue with standard costing, do it a reasonable extent and leave it. Okay, this should be done today. And before we sleep, quickly go through RTP of September 24th. Again, questions may not be expected directly, but you'll understand the approach. What kind of questions they're focused on. As this question, don't expect. Next, tomorrow, big day ahead. We're trying to cover 70 marks in one day. So start with overheads and activity-based costing. Together will give you at 15 marks. So the moment you wake up till our 9 o'clock or before breakfast, if you can complete this, it will be great. Followed by material costing, employee cost and cost sheet. These are all cost assignment system, the block of 35 marks. If you complete these in the pre-lunch and post-lunch, this 5-6 hours, you will be done with 30 plus marks largely. Okay, this is the most important chunk of topics which you have to cover tomorrow. By the time you get to this, already you would have completed 40-50 marks. So that will give you reasonable basis without a sense of urgency. So once this is done, we'll move to process and operating costing and service costing. So these 2 topics together once again will have 15 marks. So all of this we are covering 70 marks tomorrow, which makes 90 plus marks in 2 days, and you'll have the whole day of the exam day, which is free. When I say free, you'll do a basic topic of unit and batch costing, which comes up 3-4 marks normally, and then super revision of all the aspects once again. And finally, the theory. When I say theory, most of it can be answered using your index mapping, and also the formula sheets. So we believe in creating short notes which are extremely useful before the exam. So all this formula sheet or extremely helpful for you to get a quick recall. This is what you have to do, and once everything is done, just before you enter the examination hall, especially in the car, we focus on index mapping. Okay, this is exactly what has to be done, and for you to understand, focus on what are your strengths. It is very convenient for everyone to believe this is the only important block of topics, but you can match this with these two blocks. It is not obvious, please understand, it is not obvious because you can see a direct question from this. Here the topics are broken down into smaller units, but even if you are comfortable with this, you can get the base mark of 20 plus out of this, and let's say another 15 out of this. You are already crossing 35. Even if you have some issues with this, let's say 10 marks here, try to get to 45 in the first 2.5 hours. That will help you seal the deal. Last time people scored good marks in costing. We are expecting you to score good marks as well. Even if the paper is a bit different or difficult, you should be comfortably getting 50. Is this clear? Can we execute it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is exactly what you have to do. So getting back to the today's schedule. So finish these 3 topics, at least 2 topics before dinner, 1 topic after dinner. If you do this, you'll get 50, and once you get 50 plus in costing, that's a power start. Then we will be working on audit aggressively. So together, if you get 95 to 100, we'll have only 1 paper, FMSM. That's where we'll accelerate severely. Okay. Hope this is helpful for all those who are watching us. And if you want this sheet, you can drop a message 70759 85970 WhatsApp number. We'll immediately get this to you. Okay. Thank you, Manju, for recording this.